All right, listeners, as promised, once again, we're back on the meat segment. And this week, we're following up with another guest interview. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you, Scott Long. Scott, how are you, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Nah, my pleasure, man. Thanks for being on our show, the Ease and Beats podcast. I'm doing great, man. Enjoying this weather while it lasts, anyways. So
Yeah, it's slowly getting a little bit cooler. Me and my family went out to the local state park, and we were starting to notice the trees were turning. So it's coming.
coming. You're right. You're right. Well, for my listeners out there, Scott, I'd like for you to give us a little bit about yourself, what you're up to these days, and maybe what got you to this interview right here.
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm a certified athletic trainer and a certified strength and conditioning specialist. I work out of a sports performance center called Fast Performance here in Denver, Colorado. We're in the North Metro area near Northfield and Stapleton, and I've been an athletic trainer for over 7 years. I've covered and worked with athletes all the way from action sport, skateboarding, BMX. Let's see, what else? High school sports, football, baseball, collegiate softball, and I'm also the athletic trainer for the Colorado Mammoth professional lacrosse team. And now I'm head of performance for Rocky Mountain Pro and the Al Snow Wrestling Academy of Rocky Mountain.
Awesome, man. I was gonna say I was gonna prep for this and print that out, but all your accolades jammed up my printer, man. So I'm glad that you could say them for me because that's a lot. That's definitely a plateful, as we say here on EMBs.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I've tried to keep myself busy, and I like working with a whole different slew of athletes. And I've been very fortunate in my young career to have the opportunities to work with professional athletes and professional wrestlers, and it's been a privilege to work with every athlete and every individual and every coach.
That's awesome, Scott. I was doing a little bit of digging. You come from California, so not from too
Yeah.
far from where we're at right now. I'm on the
Yep.
other end. I came from the East Coast, but you definitely been through several schools to be certified and got what you got going on. But tell us, what's your favorite part of doing this?
Yeah. So, it, I really got into athletic training and sports performance when I was in high school, and happened with unfortunate incident. I tore my ACL playing football, and during high school, I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do as a career or pursue as a career. And to be honest, I thought going down the route of law enforcement was going to make the most sense for me, because I wanted to help people in my community and be a positive influence in my community. And then once I tore my ACL and got injured, I had to go through surgery, and I had to go through physical therapy and working with my athletic trainer to try and get back onto the field. And that kind of really opened my eyes to what sports medicine is and what athletic training, sports, the careers in sports performance. And so once I kind of started asking some questions and got the answer of, wait, you're telling me that I can watch sports, help athletes get better, and get paid for it? Like, sign me up. I'm in,
Right.
100% in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And so that really grew from graduating high school, going to Riverside Community College under the guidance of Guido Sandowski, Maria Castro, and Todd Babcock, and being a very green student athletic trainer, and helping the teams out at RCC, and allowing me to do my evals and tape ankles and help out with rehab to get the the student athletes ready for competition, and then taking that to Fresno State, and taking the harder classes, and then sitting for the boards, and being in that Division I collegiate atmosphere. And we had some other educational opportunities at local high schools and a local Division III university. It just kept on reinforcing this want of helping. The bottom line is helping people get better. And a lot of times people come to me when they are kind of at the bottom, where they're injured, they can't play, they something's wrong with them. And being that guide through their injury and injury management was really beneficial for me, and really helps me feel like I'm making a positive impact on people's lives. And as sports careers don't last forever unless you're Tom Brady or something like that.
Right. They're making us look bad, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it comes to making an impact in somebody's lives during a short amount of time where they're able to perform. And as a lot of people reflect on their times in athletics on a sports team as some of the best times of their life. And so being able to help out with that is huge and instrumental, and keeps me going throughout my career, man.
That's 100% true. And from my knowledge too, just from seeing it and being around it, people like you are very key, because it's very easy to get injured in several different sports in different ways, but you got to have confidence in the person that's bringing you back up. And there's always the people that want to get there faster than they need to be. And I assume that you're the professionist that making sure that everybody goes through the proper procedures and dotting their I's, crossing their T's, but what goes unnoticed is, without you guys, a lot of these guys wouldn't make it as long as they are, because they're going to hurry up to get back to where they want to be or what they thought they could be at. And it ends up turning out, pretty bad for them. So I do think that people like you, are a dime a dozen, and definitely go unseen. Just like I always talk about the local wrestling scene goes unseen a little bit. When people don't realize is, you got to start somewhere, and it's just not out in somebody's backyard anymore. And people like you, are there for the backing support, for the injuries, the performance, the weight training, or whatever it must be. And I got to commend you, man. You're doing a heck of a job here at Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling.
Well, I really appreciate that, Ed, and I appreciate those kind words and the recognition that you have for folks in my profession. And one thing that I recently saw, there was a quote kind of floating out there on Instagram that really spoke to me, was people are so worried about getting on the field by a certain amount of time. My job is to make you stay on that field. So, a lot of people look at, well, I've got an ankle sprain, I should be good for 2 weeks. It's like, no, like, I want to make sure that you stay on the field, you have to pass these certain criteria. And that was, that's something that I've always held true. And once I saw that quote, it was kind of like, aha, like, there it is.
Right. Now, do you find it harder to, let's say on an injury side of things, to try to talk to your athletes? Is it harder for let's say the lacrosse players or whatever else versus the wrestling people? I mean, wrestling, sometimes the people aren't in 100% the best shape, but they can still move and do the certain things. But, is it harder for you to try to balance the two, or is it just simple policy, procedure, and following through?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say there's a lot of similarities, for like a lacrosse player. And I'll start with some of the similarities for a lacrosse player and a professional wrestler. Like, if you're not performing, you're not getting paid and you're not getting better. So everybody wants to get back into the ring. Everybody wants to get back onto the floor or onto the field as soon as possible. And our discussions are very much the same of like, hey, here's what's going on. Here's, the structures that I'm worried about. This is the injury that I'm thinking about. Here's some of the tools and some of the things that we're going to do in the short term to get you better. And then once we're getting better on the short term, we got to take the next step and the next step and the next step in order for you to get back to the activity that you love and do. And don't kid yourself. There's a couple lacrosse players that you would look at and say, that guy's a professional lacrosse player. No way.
Okay.
No way. That guy looks like he downs a six pack after a hard day of work. But you have to have the very similar conversations, because that lacrosse player, that traditional sport player or athlete has the same goal, which is to continue playing and continue to perform and get back onto the field. And that's the same goal for a lot of wrestlers that are hurt or injured. And you have to have that conversation. Now, I would say the differences are there's no large sanctioning league other than the WWE, AEW, and
Right,
Impact,
right.
and stuff, where a lot of the folks on the indie scene, I'm not getting a call from CSW saying, hey, is so and so hurt, like, are they good to go? Like that communication's not there.
Gotcha.
Compared to my communication with the coach or the general manager. So
Exactly.
at the forefront, you have to be blunt with the wrestler that you're working with and say, hey, I know you want to get back to the ring, and I know that you have an opportunity to go out to Utah or an opportunity to perform here in Denver or down south, but here's the risks involved.
Right.
And, this is what you got to watch out for.
Well, that's good stuff. Scott, as we're kind of sticking to that same topic, why don't you tell my listeners out there a little bit about fast performance?
Yeah.
I've read a little bit about it, but I think, probably better coming from your mouth rather than mine.
Sure. So Fast Performance is Denver's premier sports performance facility. Like I said earlier, we operate in the North Metro area, 4650 Layden Street, Denver, Colorado. And we came – there's kind of a three-headed monster on a managing side. We've got three managing partners. One is Jason Hirsch, who he pitched in the MLB for a number of years. He was with the 07 Rockies, and he runs the baseball training, where we take kids all the way from 9-10-year-olds, instilling the love of baseball for those younger kids, and then all the way up to our pro level guys. Like, I just got done helping out a kid who's going to fall camp for the Royals, and so he has the opportunity to hopefully make the big show roster, or at least compete on the minor league level. And so that's kind of the baseball side. And then on the performance side, that's headed by Joel Rather, who's kind of my mentor in strength and conditioning, and he's the strength coach for the Colorado Mammoth. So Joel and I spend a ton of time together.
You guys are together
on
a
the
lot,
road.
right?
Yeah. I think I hang out. I see Joel more than my own family, but he's an all right guy, so I'm okay with it. But he's got 15, 20 years of experience in strength and conditioning. He was at Denver University. And so, he runs the performance side, and we've got really awesome equipment that allows us to train our athletes in the functional movements that they need to reinforce to be prepared properly out on the field. And so, you're not going to find a leg extension machine or a bicep curl machine here. We do get after it on the gun show every once in a while. Don't kid yourself there, but
right on.
but yeah, so that's the performance part. And then John Cole, JC, he's the strategic managing partner. So his job is to really go out and look for different entities that would benefit from our services, and try to get out into the community a little bit. And then I run the sport recovery center. So taking care of injury management, like we were talking about, taking
Right.
care of the athletes that are hurt, or dealing with athletes that want to go through active recovery to try and get the most benefit from their training from me or JC or Joel or one of the other coaches. So the way that I really look at fast performance is it's basically a very similar model to what you would see at a Division I college, where in the athletic department, you've got your training room for folks to get better and deal with all the bumps and bruises. Then you've got the weight room where we work on strength and conditioning and running around and, getting folks bigger, faster, stronger. And then Jason works with the baseball kids, improving their throwing mechanics. And he's got a whole slew of awesome toys to do that, and hitting mechanics. And most recently, obviously, we've got a 16 by 16 wrestling ring where the Al Snow Wrestling Academy, or formerly known as the Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling Academy, set up shop, and they get better Monday through Thursday nights in the ring, and doing the training that they need to do to make sure that they put out the best product and the best show or performance for the fans.
Yeah, and to touch on that, I was talking with Yaden. I think it's a pretty cool idea that you guys are showing some of that stuff on the Rocky Mountain Twitch channel.
Yeah.
Especially for somebody that's, maybe on the fence, not too sure what they want to do with it, or if they want to pursue certain things like that. So, I think that's a great idea, promoting that on the Twitch channel and just showing, hey, the folks out there, this is what we're kind of doing. And, if you think you got it or you think you want it, come on. And I think that's a great idea. What do you guys say about that?
Yeah, I think what Yaden's doing and what RMP is doing on Twitch is very revolutionary. I mean, there's obviously a big industry that has since kind of capitalized as the fourth wall has been taken away from professional wrestling. I mean, henceforth your podcast, and Jim Ross has his podcast, Jim Cornette has his podcast, Bubba Ray Dudley has his, and talking about the kind of the nostalgic things for a lot of those podcasts is very reminiscent and pulls on the heartstrings from old 100%. School fans.
I listen to all of them, and I'm the same boat. Kind of the main reason why I got into this, but the other side of the coin was for people like you guys. I listen to all those big time podcasts, wrestling podcasts, and they have all great people and all that good stuff. But if you notice, they don't ever have anything as local or any, or nobody explain what's going on to get to the level that they're explaining or talking about. And that's what I was explaining to Yaden. I'm loving this because not only does it open up to the fans that don't know about it, but it also shows the other people that, you can start from the bottom and go anywhere.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And what Yaden's doing and what they're doing is making professional wrestling on Twitch more accessible to the more hardcore fans like you and I, or the fans like, I watch an episode of SmackDown every once in a while, and they can I know they get front paged on Twitch, which they always get excited about. I'm kind of out of the loop on what's good on Twitch, but
I hear
they've
you.
shared the numbers. Like, man, we've got over a couple million views, and we've got X amount of subscribers, and we got X amount of followers and stuff like that. So what they're doing is it's definitely working. And streaming the strength and conditioning sessions that I run allows the viewer or the fan to understand, like, hey, you can't just like hop into the ring. Like, you have to
Right.
perform in the weight room, and you have to prepare in the weight room. And then, when they cut to their in-ring training, same thing. It's like these guys just aren't showing up and kind of
Yeah.
winging it.
It's
Like,
not just straight off the street. Yeah.
no, yeah, you've got to work on your skill set. You've got to work
Exactly.
on, making sure that you're safe, and making sure that the
Other
things that you're
person.
doing, it's making your opponent safe. And,
Yes.
and the interaction that Bud Bellflower and the Great Hoff have with the Twitch viewers is awesome. And they're really good at explaining, what's going on in the ring. And, obviously leaving a little bit of a mystery of what's going on as well. But again, they're taking the opportunity that has presented itself within the industry, where the fourth wall is you're starting to peek behind it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I think the old school guys in wrestling is going to say, all that crap's bad.
Right.
We have to keep kayfabe. We've 100%. And
And I understand that. Not
I
to
don't
cut
know.
you off. I
Yeah.
understand that part of it. But on the flip side, like what I'm trying to push here is, in order for the business to keep growing, we've got to keep bringing in new talent. We've got to keep bringing in people. We got to, like you've got to keep making sure people are staying healthy and on the right track. And,
Yeah.
We can't just be stuck in that 80s, 90s era and the attitude era and all that good stuff. We got to make our own era. And,
Yeah.
it's like I said, once again, people like you, they're very important in this process, but it just goes unseen. And that's what I'm trying to get this out there for you.
Yeah, for sure.
This is really, like I said, the backbone, in my opinion.
Yeah. And you never know who's going to be watching that stream. There
Exactly.
might be a Chris Jericho, there might be a Cody Rhodes, or somebody that makes decisions at the AEWs or the WWEs, NXTs, that, they're looking for the next raw talent. And I tell you what, there's a couple of guys and gals that are here at RMP and that train at the Al Snow Wrestling Academy here in Denver, that they deserve some looks.
I agree.
They're absolute professionals. They look smooth in the ring. And it's the same thing as like a scouting combine that for instance, an Austin Eckler, who's the top running back for the Chargers right now. He went to Western here in Colorado, a little, I don't want to knock on it, but
right.
small school.
I know,
But,
for sure. Yeah, not known, I should say.
Yeah, and so I kind of look at the Twitches and the YouTube videos of providing an opportunity to get to more eyes, and your podcast to get to more ears and stuff like that, to help push folks to the next level, or help educate fans that are kind of on the fence.
Definitely. And folks, we're talking with Scott Long here. Scott, let me change the subject real quick.
Sure.
Get off our topic just for a minute, maybe have a little bit of fun. As a kid, I know you're just like me. We've kind of mentioned it already, but who was your favorite wrestler all time?
Yeah, all time it's got to be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right.
Yeah. And I got into wrestling kind of at the tail end of the Attitude Era, and so Stone Cold was feuding with Vince McMahon and the McMahons all the time, and doing whatever he can to stir the pot, and
doing whatever he wanted, kind of.
Yeah.
Well, he made us feel like that,
Yeah.
That's what drew you in.
And so I was just like, oh my gosh, like, check this guy out. Like, he's chugging beer and, smashing it and doing everything else. And then I was a big fan of the Undertaker and Kane, obviously The Rock. So I was basically eating up everything that the WWE was putting on my plate. But I would say Stone Cold was my favorite wrestler. And then, man, what really threw me for the loop, because I also liked Too Cool. And,
Okay.
because Scotty Too
Too
Hottie,
hotty.
Scott
Yeah.
Long. So I was like, okay, I'm
All
Scotty Too
right.
Hottie
Yeah,
now.
gotcha.
And so Scotty Too Hottie and Grandmaster Sexay, and then, Rikishi was in that bunch. And then when Rikishi turned heel, and it came out that he ran over Stone Cold Steve Austin, like, I was absolutely devastated, man. Like, I was hurt. Like, I think I didn't go to school the next day.
Oh, man. All right. I can see it. Some people take this a little bit further, but hey, that's what it's there for, though,
Yeah.
For one, to get your mind off of certain things. For two, entertainment, obviously.
Yeah.
So, well, that's cool. We'll stay on that same topic then. What was your favorite match all time?
Ooh, gosh. Favorite match. Man, there's been a lot of really good ones. And I've kind of gone back and rewatched a lot of the older matches. I think the first one that comes to mind is a 6-man Hell in a Cell match, where it was Taker, Kane, The Rock, Stone Cold, Rikishi, and Kurt Angle. Like, seeing that one, and all the
best
big
6 at that time, really.
Yeah, the best 6 at that time, absolutely.
Hands down, right there.
Yeah. And in the cell, and just seeing how that all played out was crazy. And then one that doesn't get a lot of love is the debut of Taz at the Royal Rumble against Kurt Angle.
Yeah, that's something that definitely goes underneath the curtain for sure. Yeah. You got me thinking about it now.
Yeah. And what I appreciated about that one was, Taz was teased, and he's kind of this like shadow lurking around the back there. And then it finally comes out, and it's in, where was that? The Square Garden, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And he's a New York guy. And so the pop was just astronomical. And, it wasn't like the craziest match, but like Kurt Angle did his job, and Taz did his job, and the crowd did their job. And
two professionals, really cool. Two professionals doing it. And another thing I'll throw on top of that, Taz always got the shade kind of thrown at him for being so little,
Yeah,
but man,
sure.
I'm gonna tell you what, there wasn't nobody out there that he was scared of. It was obvious. No. But even if he was outsized, he made the match look, representable or above and beyond, whatever it may be. That's definitely a good one, man. I wasn't anticipating that.
Yeah, you could like, shoot, man, you can make a whole podcast of like, what's your top 5 matches.
Man, I've got a stack right now of me and a couple of buddies have been doing it for months. Top 10 intercontinental tag teams, fractions.
Oh yeah, there you
Eventually, I'm gonna release some stuff, but I've just got so much going on right now. Currently, for next month, next month's gonna be pretty hot. I'm doing all Halloween Havoc stuff. I'm gonna touch on Halloween Havoc about every week. Not a whole show, but we are gonna do one watch along at the end of the month, and I'm having the listeners out there to hopefully pick that out for us. It'll be a good one, but that's what I'm currently scheduled. I'm going back through all these Halloween Havocs, taking some notes, awesome. Remembering some, spin the wheel, make the deal, stuff like that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
What's your top match? What do you like?
I don't know. 93
it's tough,
right now,
man.
93 right now is holding a pretty good one, but like I said, I'm going back through and I'm forgetting about some of this stuff. I mean, even in 89, even though it was kind of cheesy, the match performance as far as who was on the card was head to toe was pretty solid. And they didn't have all the pyro, all the extra stuff back then, but yet it was just a good show.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head right now which my favorite is, but I will next month.
Yeah. Good, man. Well, I'll definitely have to tune in and check it out and revisit some of those Halloween Havocs and stuff. So, '89 and the '93s is well before my time of appreciating professional wrestling. But I'll
Right.
have to join
Well,
in
there's
on that.
that's kind of the thing. I had a little bit of a small period in my high school years, which was around the 99, 2000 era, where I kind of stepped out, but
Mm-hmm.
like, like the Havoc ran from 89 to 2001.
Mm.
So like when I rewatched those newer ones, I was like, oh man, I don't remember any of this. This is
Yeah.
completely new to me. Like I gotta, rewatch it again, take notes. And so, but I definitely know what you're saying. Some people haven't seen some of the old stuff, and that's why I like about this. I like to talk about some stuff that people have forgotten about or haven't ever seen.
Yeah, for sure, man. No, I think it's going to be awesome. I'm excited to see this podcast grow and see the show grow.
Man, I appreciate that, man. Like I said, I appreciate you coming on. Let's talk a little bit more about you and some things you have
Sure.
been going on. I read into some of your stuff, and what can you tell me about somebody that actually I think he thinks pretty highly of you, but Sweet Johnny Zudo.
Oh, sweet Johnny Zudo, man. Yeah. So, so let me give you a little bit of background of how first how Yaden and I met, and then
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
kind of
definitely.
talk
Yeah,
about the
definitely. Yeah,
program.
sure.
Okay. So Rocky Mountain Pro did a cross promotion with the Colorado Mammoth where after the game they set up a ring out on the floor, and they had a handful of wrestling matches, and then the last match was the Rumble at the Loud House, which is a battle royale, and our mascot Wooly the Mammoth came out and beat up on Jumbo Zamora, who was talking some unnecessary trash
No, not
to
Jumbo.
our beloved Wooly. And so Wooly came in there, and I got to it was me, Joey Capito, who's one of the players on the team, Brighter, who's one of the coaches, and then Teddy Jenner, who's our color guy or our play-by-play guy for the Mammoth. And we got to escort Wooly out there. And around this time, we were already kind of formulating like, hey, we want to make fast performance happen. Like we're looking at buildings, and we're starting to plan of putting the building together and the spot together. And so after the match, I approached Yaden, and he's working his tail off trying to get the ring broken down and everything into the truck so he can get the heck home.
Right,
and I was
right.
like, hey man, my name's Scott, I'd be interested in talking with you about doing some sort of partnership, strength and conditioning or injury management, whatever. He's like, yeah, absolutely. So we exchanged contact information and kind of kept in touch. And then COVID happened, where we were shut down.
Right.
And so I sent him an email. I was like, hey, we've got a podcast too, the Fast Performance Podcast. Like, would you want to come on and come in studio to chat for a bit? And so he said, yeah, let's do it. And showed him the facility and kind of continued to talk about, hey, these are some of my visions if you guys were to come in, and these are the things, I treat professional wrestlers as athletes because professional wrestling is an athletic endeavor.
Absolutely.
And one thing led to another, and the next thing that we know, we've got a ring in our gym. And so yeah, so
It's
it
like, bam, here
actually
you
moved
go.
pretty quick.
That's
Yeah.
cool though. I mean,
Yeah, it actually moved pretty quick. And the managing partners were like, Jason's a big wrestling fan, Joel and JC, they're kind of whatever to pro wrestling, but I think they're starting to come around.
and once a fan, always a fan
Yeah.
is what I say.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And so, we've got the wrestling ring in, and I said, okay, part of the partnership is I'm going to put together like a strength and conditioning program for the wrestlers and for the returning students. it's an opt-in. So if they want to pay a couple extra bucks a month, they can opt into the program, but it's going to be mandatory for all the white shirts or the new students that come in, and that's part of their tuition. And so Sweet Johnny Zito was one of the first guys to reach out and say, hey, I really want to do this. And he's been with it since basically day one. And
Cool.
I know he's lost over 20 pounds in weight, and he's gotten in some of the best shape that he's gotten in his life. And he's a guy that works hard and comes in, and some of the workouts that I put together, like, I'm not going to lie, they're hard. I push them. There's no butt kissing or,
No corners cut, right?
okay? Yeah,
I mean, you can't. If you want to do it like, we talked, you got to go and dot your I's, cross your T's,
yeah,
stick to the program, and
yeah,
results will come.
yeah. And he's definitely somebody that is stuck with the program, and he's always asking questions. Hey, what can I do better? And he's super coachable, where I can give him a cue if something's out of line, and he'll be able to pick it up and not just fix it for the next couple reps, but he'll stay with it for the next couple sets, which is awesome. And him winning the Colorado Cup just kind of shows like how much work he's put in ever since we've been able to get back to training and being in the weight room and in the ring. And I would take 100 Johnny Zitos any day. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, good dude. Good.
Just reading his his success story review that he wrote for you, it was instantly. That's why I brought it up, because when you got people that back you like that, it definitely helps you out, makes you feel better, makes you feel like you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And like you said, you need a million of those guys.
Yeah.
Well, as we wind some things down here, Scott, on the meat segment here, I just got a couple more questions for you, and then I'll turn you loose here and let all my listeners out there know where they can reach you at, find you at, all that good stuff. But cool. One thing I always like to ask, and we kind of take it as a joke and whatever, but this is the scrambled egg I got for you. So,
okay,
if you were gonna be a wrestler,
mm-hmm.
or let's say you're gonna be a wrestler.
Yep.
Would you A, be heel or face, and B, tell the listeners out there what your gimmick name and gimmick would be?
Okay, so I think I'd want to stick heel more, just because it's fun being the bad guy. And
everybody says that.
Yeah. And I actually I'm that guy in the crowd where like the heel's putting heat on the baby. I'm like, yeah, stay on him. Let's go. Don't let him up.
I'm a Jericho guy, so I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Keep it coming.
Yeah. So I always stir the pot and cheer for the heel. And then my gimmick name would be Scotty Tahoe, and I think my gimmick would be like kind of this like hiker redneck. I don't know. I feel Big Josh. Do you know Big Josh from back?
Yeah. Kind of something like that, maybe.
Something like that.
All right, I can see that.
wearing a flannel, like a cut off flannel or something like that.
Right. So I was kind of thinking though, with the fast performance stuff. I mean, I could see you coming out maybe with Kurt Angle as your manager in a singlet.
Yeah. I could definitely pull that off.
I can't remember what they were called, but something.
Yeah, no, I can definitely picture that, where I've got a hat on, I've got a whistle, I'm blowing the whistle down the ramp. My shirt's tucked in, I've got the bike shorts, pulled up white socks. That might be, if Scotty Tahoe doesn't work out, that might be the next angle I'm going after. But I've been kind of chewing on Scotty Tahoe for a little while.
Okay. So we there might be a chance down the line, you're saying, then, that we might see Scotty Tahoe.
I don't know. There's so it's like almost every other practice that Yaden kind of like looks at me in the corner of his eye. He's like, so you getting in? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. So he had me kind of go through like a little tryout with some of the green and blue shirt guys, where they taught me how to roll and do some of the bumps, back bump, front bump, and a few other things. And they're like, yeah, dude, like that was actually really good. And then there's like one or two other practices where we're working on moves and some simple grappling stuff. And I got in there and saw what it was about, and I was like,
I don't know why,
oh, this is bad.
I just pictured this. Yaden standing there like, oh, I need somebody. Hey, Scott, come here.
Yeah.
Let me show you guys how it's done on Scott.
Yeah. So who knows, man? I might go through a couple trainings. I don't know if I'd ever get into the ring and do a show or something like that. But to say that, like, yeah, I trained as a professional wrestler would be kind of cool.
Well, if you ever do, you can guarantee the E's and B's will be here to back you, and we'll promote the heck out of it.
I appreciate it, man.
Last question I got before I turn you loose here on your stuff.
Okay.
I got a couple champions coming on here in the next couple of weeks. You know them very well. What should I be aware of, or what should I be looking out for with Dustin and Bruce Wayans coming on here in the next couple of weeks?
So Dustin, obviously he's got a band of misfits going with him now. It's not the flock, it's not the murder. Oh shoot, what's a gang of vultures? I forget exactly what his stable's called, but they introduced themselves at milestone 10, and Dustin's been in Colorado since day one, and he's been with RMP since day one, and he's been a bad guy since day one. And he's got Damon Ace with him, and he's got Mario with him now, and I think that stable is going to be a force to be reckoned with, and they're going to do whatever they can to win. So if you've got a match booked against the Dustin the Vulture, you're more than likely going to see a couple other cronies of his to get in the ring. But the guy's a professional. I will give him that. And he works hard. He's super knowledgeable. Even though he's definitely the top heel of the company, he helps everybody out in training. He might be a little bit rougher on one or two folks, but guy knows his stuff. And he's definitely a legend within Colorado. And then who else are you having on?
Bruce will be coming on probably a week or two after him.
Okay, sweet.
And he just became champion, so I'm sure he's pretty pumped about that. And get out there. I follow him I follow all you guys on social media.
Okay. But, yeah. So Bruce is an awesome guy. Very talkative. He can talk trash with the best of them. And what's funny is, so I took my wife to Milestone 10, which was her first wrestling show, and we were with Jason and his wife and his two little boys, and then they brought two of their little friends to hang out, and we're all at this table, and it was the three-way match. It was Atiba, Lipto, and Bruce, and the kids are fired up, and Bruce is making his way to the ring during his entrance, and we're cheering and stuff like that. And then Bruce looks at all those little kids, those four little boys, and he says, "Hey, you little kids, you're rooting for me." And like the little kid pop was just, "Oh, okay, yeah." So I think he's going to be a great champion. I'm excited to see kind of what his title run entails. Again, he's kind of been in Colorado for quite a while, and I know he does a a bunch of stuff in Utah and in Colorado Springs and one or two other local spots. But yeah, man, he's a joy to watch in the ring. And during training, he's really good with the younger guys and the white shirts. So the newer students and
Sure.
helping them out in the ring for that. So yeah, man, those are going to be two really good interviews for you.
Well,
I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. I can't wait. I'm gonna see what they got for me. Maybe push them to the limits, and we'll see. We'll go from there. But hopefully, it'll be some good interviews. I'm really looking forward to it. So we wind things down here on the meat segment, Scott. Why don't you tell my listeners out there how they can reach you, find you, anything they need from you on the social medias?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram at Scotty with a Y. So SCOTTY_sportsmed. You can also find me on Twitter at Scotty Sportsmed with no underscore there. Those are probably the two most that I'm most active on because they're kind of the easiest.
I hear you. There's so much these days.
Oh, I know.
Is there anything coming up here soon that you might want to push before we get off of here?
Yeah, so to kind of continue off of that, you can always shoot me an email if you have any questions at scott@fastcolorado.com. And I also have a 8-week return to the ring strength and conditioning online program because as you know, COVID is taken away a lot of opportunities for wrestlers to stay in shape or get back into shape in ring and in the weight room and stuff like that. And so I put together this program that's an online program where basically you get 4 sessions a week for 8 weeks. So that's 32 sessions of strength and conditioning that's tailored toward professional wrestling, and it's a lot of the same stuff that I do with the RMP guys and gals. So if you're interested in that, feel free to shoot me an email again at scott@fastcolorado.com. I can get you hooked up there. I'd also be more than happy to send you some links where you can post that. You can also kind of check into what I'm doing on the sport recovery side at fastsportrecovery.com. So that's fastsportrecovery.com. You can kind of see some of the things that I'm up to and some of the services that I offer. And if you're here in Denver and a professional wrestler in Denver that maybe not be associated with RMP, still love to help you out. Just because I work with RMP doesn't mean that I'm I poo-poo on anybody else.
We got you there. Well, man, we definitely appreciate it. And I'll get them links posted on my page at easeandbees.com. Well, Scott, man, it's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed listening to everything you've had to say. You've taught me. I'm sure you've taught some listeners some good things. And like you said, man, if you guys are interested, hit him up.
Yeah,
he's definitely got something going here in Colorado, and maybe even online. If you're not here in Colorado, he could probably help you out as well. Scott, buddy, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming today, man. Anything else you'd like to say?
No, man. I appreciate you having me on and providing a platform for the betterment of professional wrestling and just allowing me to talk to the people and kind of share my story and my thoughts. So thank you for this platform, and I wish you all the best with the show going forward.
And I appreciate it, and I hope to have you on again sometime in the future. We'll talk more wrestling. Hey, who knows? Maybe you could whip my old ugly shape or butt into shape someday, huh?
Yeah, buddy, come on down. I'll take care of you.
All right, man. Thanks again, guys. That's Scott Long.